All right, what's up, folks? I wanted to come on and say hi to everybody today. There's been much made of this ProShares announcement that came up yesterday. You know, this is like maximize Twitter. I went on Twitter and it was like the max number of messages, which is, you know, when you get the max number of messages, it says 20 plus. So it was 20 plus yesterday. I looked at my messages. I came back like 10 minutes later. It was 20 plus again. So let's go back and look at this big ProShares thing and see what's going on here, because people seem to have gotten very excited about this whole ProShares press announcement. And essentially what it says was like they're asking people to back them up and support them because the SEC is possibly going to increase the number of recommendations you have to jump. They're increasing the hoops you have to jump through to trade these products, possibly. And but you know, most of us, if you're watching this, you're probably sophisticated enough to realize that there are a million ways to short volatility. PR product. I'm sorry that you opened that spread. Yeah, it does feel bad. I felt that pain many times before, and there's nothing to do about it right this moment other than either close it for a loss or hang on, which I'm sure you know. Yeah, it's a bummer. I'm not sure which month. It says right there, March. Okay, so I think this stuff's going to come back. I would hang out. Yeah, at least you didn't open one that's January 31st closing. You can look at it that way. You had the presence of mind to give yourself a little time at least. So pat yourself on the back for that. It still is bad to have paper losses, but you've got time left. So let that time work for you. Give it a chance. You know, it seems like we're in a situation like we actually were last weekend, where the things could a lot of stuff could happen over the weekend. It could either get worse over the weekend or it could get better. People could, you know, think about it over the weekend and come in and buy the dip, or people could, you know, kind of think of it and things could get worse over the weekend. So that's kind of where we are right now. Let's take a quick look at the markets, because the Dow is down 500, and I know that is not as big of a deal as Dow being down 500 10 years would have been, because, you know, the Dow is 28,000 now. So 500 is not a huge percentile. And since I'm lazy, I'll do the math here. It says 1.9% the Dow is down right now. The SPX down the same exact amount, which pretty makes sense. They're pretty similar to each other. And the NASDAQ down 100 is down a little bit over 2% right now. So yeah, we have a real spike on our hands right now, and this is kind of the continuation of stuff. You know, it's kind of typical, kind of hilarious. I make a video saying that the spike a couple days ago was a typical spike, and of course, instead of being a typical spike, it continues higher and turns into the beginning of more problems. So if we do trace back the VIX a little bit, we're going to see action. You know, the times were changing as of a couple weeks ago. And to me, it all starts with that attack on one of our bases, where in one day we had a spike and then it kind of cleared itself out by the next trading session and was all about nothing. That would have been right back here on the 6th of Jan. For me, it all started right then, and you could feel the tone start to switch a little bit. And as we hit VIX expiration last time, all of a sudden contango went from 18% to 2%, and we were kind of we've been in a different environment since then. And if I'm here looking at the screen, but you can't see the screen because I haven't switched it over. So let me switch it over. And here's the action since the beginning of January in the VIX, and you can see spiky, spiky, spike. Madness. the other thing, PR product that you can feel good about is that we are up a little bit higher. You were up a little bit higher on Monday than the bottom. There are people that I know sold this VIX around 11, and we've gone higher since then. If we do look at our contango chart here, go to VIX Central, we're going to see we are inverted now and in backwardation the first 2 months. So yeah, we are in the middle of a spike now, and it kind of feels like, I can't predict the future, but it kind of feels like this is going to continue for a while. That's what it kind of feels like. We saw some action, a little more action. This isn't, we haven't done that much technical damage to the rally. If we back up to let's look at a year chart of the E-minis, we haven't done all that much damage yet to those technicals. It certainly could get worse from here before it gets better. We'll have to wait and see what happens. VIX did get up to around 19 so far today. We can see here on the VIX chart was what happened in the last couple of days was, well, it wasn't the top. It looked like it might have been the top there. Things came back down, and then whoop, another swoosh upward. And I want to caution people about taking too big a position, but I also want to caution people about keeping things in perspective. Look at these other spikes here. Most of them end within a day or two, and just because we had this other upswing doesn't mean that this one isn't going to be over very soon as well. Political news is out there, which is, it appears that the impeachment trial is going to be over pretty soon, and I would have to think when that impeachment trial is over, it is going to be a source of relief for the markets, and vol should come in on that news. Now, they've been back and forth over whether they're going to call witnesses and whatnot, so it's not over yet, but they were saying yesterday it could be over today as far as the vote on witnesses. It could be over early next week, and I have to think that volatility will come in a little bit based on that. And so I want people to be careful. You lose a little money, and I'm not speaking to PR product right now. I'm speaking to everybody. How do geopolitics actually affect traders? It really varies, PR product, and it's very hard to trade based on that. Sometimes the market cares about geopolitics. Sometimes it doesn't care about it at all. And remember, you've got several thousand really smart people. The sum total of all their opinions and thoughts and ideas is what creates the market. It's very hard to predict what's going to happen based on geopolitics. If we knew right now that Monday the impeachment trial is going to be over, if we were able to see the future to Monday right now, it still wouldn't help us trade very much, because it's very hard to pin down how things are going to react. Sometimes the market cares about stuff, sometimes it doesn't. It's a very difficult thing to trade on. What I do want to do is keep you folks in perspective. We're in the middle of a spike. Most spikes don't last very long, so it would be very risky to get long vol right here. I would not recommend that. Shorting volatility seems like a good idea. It's probably going to work. It might not work in the end. This down move is killing my short put positions. Yeah, I hear you. This is painful. And people that, everybody's in pain right now. Think about the vast majority of people trading the markets are get long and hold. That's what my family's positions are. My parents are old school. They buy baskets of stocks. They buy companies they believe in, and they hold them for years and years and years. Everybody is stressed, and everybody is ugh when we get a down move like this. But we got to take the good with the bad, unfortunately, and that's just the way it is. There are opportunities here. Can this move lower? Certainly it can. It kind of feels like this is going to go on for a little while, but statistically speaking, most spikes end quickly. So my position right now is short some volatility. I've been kind of jockeying back and forth about how I wanted to accomplish that. I fortunately didn't have a big position coming into this, but the position I chose to go with for today, and I don't have, I'm not fully my whole position on this. or all my money on this, but the position I chose to go with was fairly conservative, an April put spread in VXX. So I bought the April 18 puts and I sold the 15 puts. So I paid $2 for this put spread. It can be at the most be worth $3 if we settle down in the next 3 months and VXX ends up below 15. I'll make the maximum on this spread, and it'll be a 33% winner. That's my I've got a time horizon a few months out. It's fairly conservative. I'm not trying to get us, if we went back to where we were a week ago, the low was 13.15. So it's conceivable in 3 months we can take out the low again, but I'm using this spike as an opportunity to be very conservative, and I'm saying we can get below 15 in the next 3 months. So that's well off the all-time lows, but lower than we are now still. And I encourage you to use the spike, if you have bullets, as an opportunity to put a position on that is reasonable and conservative. It gives you more ability to put a position on when we're in a spike. This is the chance to jump into this stuff. Now, I do want people to have perspective. Look at this chart here, okay? We've had this beautiful down move here that's gone on for months and months and months. But before that, we had turmoil in 2018. If we go back to 2018, there's turmoil going on here. This whole move was months long. It's an up move that was months long. Before that, this move here, it was a while long, and it took a while for it to come back and start going down again. So when we look at things in a 3-year chart, we see this could just be the beginning of a move. Now, don't fool yourself. This isn't going back to 58 and staying there. The decay that has happened here is gone. The futures that this was based on way back when are gone. So we're not going to see it pop to 58 and stay there. A more reasonable thing, though, is if stuff gets bad for a while, we could see this pop to 25 and stay there for a while. The odds are that won't happen, and the odds are that this is a big opportunity here to short stuff and to scale into some sort of short. Now, the odds it might not work out. That's the risk of trading. But for me, I'm putting on somewhat of a short here. And if we move higher on Monday, I will add to it. You always want to have some bullets to add to the short. But notice what I'm not doing is I'm not selling naked calls. I'm not putting myself in a situation where, like, if we spike, I'm going to lose all my money, because I'm not into losing all my money. I'm into conserving. But yeah, it hurt. It's painful when this kind of stuff happens. You have a plan and this kind of stuff happens and it goes against you. It's painful. And anybody who's been trading more than 10 minutes knows that feeling of losing money. You go on YouTube and you see all these people talking about, like, making money day in and day out. And maybe there's one person out of a million that makes money day in and day out. But most of us out there have to take the good with the bad, and it's a struggle for us. Remember, every dollar that you take out of the market, you're taking away from some other schmuck. So it's not just easy times all the time. This short vol trade has seemed easy for months. Look, you could have shorted this stuff way back in April of last year or 2 years ago and made money almost the whole time. Yeah, it is painful when you already have shorts on. And the thing is like, what do you do? Do you cut? You don't want to be in that pain. So do you cover it here? Do you cover it and then try to reestablish? If you really believe that we're in trouble, then it would make sense to cover your short here, go to cash, hang on the sidelines, and maybe stuff pops on Monday. Maybe VXX goes to 30 on Monday, and you're happy you covered today, and you can reestablish at 30. But I mean, these are the options that are out here for a trader, and it's so hard to tell what to do in these times. And I wish I could give you more of a way to tell what to do, but nobody knows what's going to happen. My feeling is that these, I have this feeling in the back of my head that this could go on for a while, but I also know statistically these spikes don't last very long. That's why I'm sticking with my short and thinking that it will come back as we move on. The VIX did get up to 19. Remember, like historically, we're still in a mid-range. A high range for the VIX would be if we pop 20, 21. Certainly, I would be less undecided if we pop 20, 21, 22. 25, I would tell you, short it here. I don't care what anyone else says because we're not going to stay above 25 very long. And 35, same thing. But as far as could this situation get worse, it certainly could get worse from here. It's not very bad right now in the grand scheme of things. We've had relative calm for a very long time. We've had this beautiful down move, and it's been easy trading this stuff. It's been easy to short it, and it's almost been like free money. It's like you think when you're trading the VIX, all those schmucks that are trading stocks, they have to like be right all the time. For us, we just short this stuff and make money every day. I can't answer that for you. Roman Gecko says, I have 15% of the portfolio allocated and heavily debating whether to add more or wait till Monday. I can tell you what I did was I shorted something today. I put on some sort of short today myself, but I can't tell you what to do. Only you know yourself and what you can live with yourself doing. I certainly, if you do nothing today, you're going to kick yourself if it's back down again on Monday. But last weekend we had a ramp up on Friday and it opened higher, and there was more opportunity to do stuff Monday. Will this repeat last weekend? Well, things seldom repeat exactly what happened last weekend, but it's possible. Anything's possible, of course. And I wish I could give you a better answer to that, but I don't want to just make up some garbage to make you happy because we just don't know what's going to happen out there. Pretty significant. The VIX up almost 4 points today. That's a big move. This is a big move here. Now, I did want to highlight go back and highlight for a second the puts that I've been talking about so much in VXX, which was these Jan puts with about a year to go. They've brought these in a little bit, but they had these cranked up to like 49-cent, 50-cent bid here with, which was higher. They're higher with this up almost over 1.5 than they closed yesterday. They brought them in a little bit, but this is an example of an option where if you're just walking off the street, you might be like, oh, the VIX is up. I'm going to buy some of these 7 puts paying, they were offered at 50 cents, a couple hundred traded 50 cents versus the underlying right here. You come in and say, I'm going to buy some of these puts. Guess what? This back down to $1.70 in a couple days, these puts aren't going to move. So you want to be really careful. I'm sticking away. If you're bold enough and you can handle the risk enough, selling calls up here, is a decent move, but you got to give yourself plenty of room for it to spike against you. But, volatility's cranked. You want to sell something. You don't want to be buying something. The reason I bought put spreads is because you're buying one option and selling another, and it partially offsets each other. Yeah, that's a good idea, Edward. A lot of times when you get tunnel vision, the best thing to do is just back those charts out, back them out. And backing out the chart here, it makes it actually seem less willing to sell stuff in a way, which isn't necessarily the desired effect. Here's a chart, looks like a great sale there, back it up, doesn't look like such a great sale. And same for me of backing up the E-minis right now is like, you say, oh, it's a sell-off, but look, I mean, there's a sell-off at October of 2018. There's a sell-off. This is just kind of like, a bit of a down move. I mean, we could, we're only back to where we were a couple months ago. But it could turn around and people could be like, "Oh, this is the best opportunity ever." I mean, Amazon's up 143 points right now today. Tesla's up today. So obviously, Tesla and Amazon don't think that this is the beginning of a sell-off because people are buying these things. Whoever bought Amazon today isn't really concerned that this is like a big deal, right? Because you wouldn't buy Amazon with it up $100 if you thought this was that serious, right? So there's that. Now, Apple's been getting pounded recently, and it's down 13 today. But, I mean, Tesla continues to be on a roll. And we've seen this before. We've seen this before with down markets where, like, the markets were trending lower and Tesla was bucking the trend. That was happening way back when, too. I'm going to make myself smaller. I feel like I'm right in your face. It's also big. April is a few months out. Obviously, it's scary. It's scary to have stuff on that's like expiring in 7 days because who knows what's going to happen in the next 7 days. Obviously, you can get more bang for your buck buying stuff closer, but it's a juggling match what you want to do. And once again, we've seen the volatility creep up on these options. The Jan has crept from 70 to almost 80 vol in VXX options. And you know what? When I was looking at it before, I was buying the Jan 7 puts, and we were in 15% contango. I was thinking, oh, it's not that unreasonable that this thing could cut in half in a year. But now all of a sudden, contango's like negative, and it's like, really? I'm betting that it's going to go down 50%? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah, maybe that is why Amazon's up, Edward. I wonder what you guys think. Is this more to do with the virus? Is that the whole thing behind all this, the virus? Or is it something else? Is it quote unquote technical? It's very hard to tell when we're in the moment what exactly is affecting the market. So I did reach out to ProShares, and they haven't got back to me yet. I asked them for an interview. I told them the ground rules could be that they have total control over the interview and can sign off on it before I release anything. I haven't been super friendly towards ProShares management in the past, especially when UVXY got nerfed. I wasn't very friendly towards the management. Now, I'm not like vain enough to think that ProShares is necessarily following my videos, but if they were to look back, they would see that I've been a bit critical of them in the past. But that just speaks to the authenticity of the channel, I believe. The virus was a trigger for the technical. Oh, did you take a poll among all followers before you wrote that, Edward? I just want to make sure it's everybody that's chiming in on that. VVIX up 12. Now the Dow's down 600, so it's a little scary out there, and I know when it's scary, it almost you just want to be on the sidelines. But this is the opportunity here right now. It's interesting. It looks like things are deepening as we speak now. The E-mini's down 68. So we'll have to see what happens coming into the weekend here. I'm not going to add to it anymore today, I believe, because I just want to see where we open Monday. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not into taking all the risk at once. If you've lost some money, hang in there. This is the price we pay for making money most of the time in the short vol products is you get a day like today from time to time. And, it could have been worse. We could have spiked directly a lot higher where at least you have a chance here to make some adjustments, to decide what you want to do as opposed to, UVXY opens 35 or something like that. All right. Good point, Edward. It's not a loss until you actually take it off. All right. So we've got about 45 minutes left till the close today, and it's time to decide how you want to end things. My advice is cautious because it doesn't feel like this is over. It doesn't feel like we have resolution. And I tend to think that the politics in the U.S. has as much to do with this as the coronavirus and whatnot. But we'll have to wait and see. Once again, we will have clarity after the fact, which doesn't really help us with our trading decisions right this moment necessarily. But, as I said, there are some stocks bucking the trend today. This company called TVIX appears to be bucking the trend. I wonder what TVIX makes. They must have had good earnings or something. And let's see. Yeah, and so that's kind of where we stand. I'm happy that this isn't like a couple years ago, because a couple years ago I would have laid into this really heavily, and it would have cost me a lot of money as we moved higher today. Because you easily could have laid into this midday, and things have gotten worse since then. VXX was hanging around 1570 for quite some time today, and then we made that next sort of leg up. We'll see. People have a weekend to think about this stuff. A lot of times a weekend brings calm. It kind of breaks things up. It's kind of like a circuit breaker. When stuff goes limit and they have a circuit breaker, it gives people a while to think about it. It's the same with the weekend. People come in after the weekend and might be like, this is an opportunity to buy the dip. It usually has a dampening effect a weekend. So we'll have to see what happens, but there you have it. Yeah, right. The plunge protection team could arrive. Each time seems like it's the end of the world, but usually the team shows up somewhere, somehow. We'll have to see. It just seems like, it kind of feels like we've had like progressively kind of bigger spikes over the last couple weeks, and it kind of feels like this isn't over yet to me. I don't know how it feels to you. I am the worst market timer in the world, so don't follow me, or don't follow my recommendations for market timing, because I am the worst market timer. I'm the worst stock picker, so I stick to what your 50-cent yellow VIX call. Nice. And so there you have it. There's a little dead air for you. Good luck on the rest of the trading day today. And I will see you very shortly. Hopefully we hear back from ProShares and we can get one of those guys to come on and talk to us. If not that, we'll get some other people on. I've been working with somebody. I'm going to have a special guest coming on next week who we've never heard from before. So that should be exciting. Stay safe. Trade them up. Best of luck to everybody. Have a great weekend. I'll see you soon.